All right. Andrea St. Amand here with my friend Sam Allen. Hi, Sam.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Doing well. The sun is shining.
Very good. Well, I woke up one night and all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, Sam and I are in the same business, even though we're not in the same business at all. But we're in the same business because we're both
Sure,
changing realities. So,
sure,
Sam,
sure.
talk a little bit about what you do, or give a little bit about your background, then go into what you do.
I'm a social marketer, social engineer, and I run a small outfit, and we design social change campaigns for major government and nonprofit entities all over the country. Um, Probably the most notable campaign we've worked on is the design and implementation of the Truth Campaign, which is the anti-tobacco social marketing campaign that changed the way people view tobacco products, primarily young people. And so we get a chance to specialize in designing programs like that all over the country, everything from safe driving to teen obesity to underage drinking, drug awareness, all those different things. So that's what I do professionally. And I've been doing it for about 18 years. Yeah.
And you've even taken on the city of Chicago, haven't you? Trying to change
Oh, yeah,
gang
for
violence.
sure. For sure. I mean, working on the south side of Chicago, um, trying to figure out how to change social norms and behaviors around, um, issues that, the people who are in it, they're very passionate about it. It's a very real thing to them. And so how do you address those social norms and be respectful of the culture that exists there at the same time is a true art form. And so yeah, we've had some opportunities to do some work there in Chicago also.
Amazing, amazing work. So the idea though of changing someone's perception of reality, and you're doing it on a really big
Hmm.
scale, but we've talked about doing that in individuals' lives and
Yeah, absolutely.
how how you can wake up one day and find yourself living somebody else's dream. And how do you get out of
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I mean, I don't know if I've even told you this, but when I started out, I was recruited because we ended up creating the Truth Campaign and being a part of a very powerful and smart and ambitious team of creatives that designed that when I was a teenager. And when I turned 18, I was heavily recruited by a lot of different agencies, which I thought was weird because I was so young and I hadn't had an experience in my whole life. I had, bought into um, the narrative that you need to, have really good grades and go to a really good college and graduate at the top of your class. And you're going to get a great job, and then you're going to have a house and white picket fence and a piece of the American Corona. Right? That's what they sell us.
Yes.
And so at 18, I was really curious as to why these executives were offering me incredible numbers to come and work for them. And I didn't have this experience. And so I took one of those guys up on the offer, and I work with, at the time, they were the number one marketing agency in the country. They had accounts like Nike and McDonald's, and I got a chance to really, be in a playground of creatives and design campaigns on all different levels. And about 2 years into it, I had an idea to start my own agency, and I found a nice little niche in which I thought I could partner. And they didn't want to do that. They very much wanted to buy me and all of my autonomy, right? Like my agency
Right.
um, was for purchase, or at least they thought it was.
Right.
And so I unplugged very early, right? And so that's probably what makes my life currently a little bit easier to live, is because I was able to unplug early and go, no, I'll take my ball and I'll just go home, right? Like you can't buy me.
Yes.
Um, and I'm still friends with those guys today, but because they meant no malice by it. It's not the evil doers.
Right.
It's just that I wanted to be happy. Um, and I was young enough and crazy enough to realize that I can be happy. And I think not enough folks understand that you actually can
Mm.
find joy
Yes, I think
and
that's
be yourself
right.
at the same
Especially if
time.
you've gone down the traditional path for so long and then you're 40 years old, 50 years old, and you're thinking about stepping
Yes.
off at that point and you don't know where you're stepping off into. And that idea of even believing that you deserve to be happy is so far removed, because happiness
Yeah.
or joy,
Yeah.
that great joy, has now been defined by all of these other people, because maybe you have
Hmm.
a great house, maybe you have a great marriage, or you're in a marriage.
Yeah.
There's all
Right.
this stuff that you're afraid to break out of because somebody else is going to think you're crazy,
Hmm.
or you don't even know how to break out.
Yeah. I mean, it took me a while to learn it, but it was a poet. I was in Boston on work, and I saw a poet who was performing in the theater district. His name was Black Ice, and he said a line that struck me at my core. Um, and he was talking about, um, things, possessions, homes, salaries, and like all these these things are designed to enslave you.
Mm.
And I really didn't understand that because I was trying to connect it, but that night I just wrestled with that, and I understood, if we get the dream car that we want, if we buy the dream house, and we do it through traditional means of working for someone, typically that means that we're now going to be a slave to being able to sustain those things, right? And the same thing goes for ideas and goes for social aspects. As long as we need these things, or we think that we need these things, we will make all kind of sacrifices for our own personal well-being and mental health, um, in order to keep those things. And so even right now, I'm really good at letting things go.
Yeah.
And that's a practice behavior, right? And I don't say that as if I'm somebody special. Like every day I wake up and figure out how to let certain things go,
Yeah.
especially if it doesn't serve the larger context of what I want to get
Right.
accomplished.
And the thing that you hit on there is the idea that when you get those things through means of other people, through not
Hmm.
doing your true work. Are you
Mm.
hearing my dog in the background though? Is she making, she's
Well, I
barking.
hear it a little bit.
Okay, good.
She's in the conversation.
She
She's jumping
is.
in the
She's adding
conversation.
in. She's not willing to let go of her bed or her bones, so.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's the key, because there's certainly nothing wrong with wealth and a house and a car and all that stuff if you've gotten it in such
No,
a
no,
way
no.
that it's you, not because you've
Yeah,
worked at the firm and worked at the law firm forever like I did, and then now you can't
right.
let go. I was really attached to my house. That was the thing I had, the
I,
hardest thing letting go, quitting the law firm. I was
yeah.
crying. I was like crying over the window sills. Like, I love these windows. I don't want to leave. I mean, but the only way I
Yeah,
could stay in the house was to stay in that life and in that lifestyle.
yeah. And
It was painful.
and uh our society is designed that way, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and Andrew, I think you and I both agree their life runs in cycles and they're all connected. Um, in the way that our society has been engineered, um, our systems are designed so that we can assimilate and be a part of a system.
Yeah.
And if you are unaware of that, you become one of its greatest agents.
Right.
And until the day that you want to unplug and you go, oh my, holy crap, my house and my car and my all these things are tied into the system, and it all works to keep me here.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, I have no problem with wealth. I have no problem with like things. I think things are cool.
Yeah.
Um, like I have fun. I'm a tech guy. I love technology. These earbuds are the coolest piece of technology I've been able to acquire in the last decade. But I love these things, right? So I'm not a guy that's like unplug and don't have things and don't acquire things. That's not what I'm saying at all. My concern is at what cost.
Yes.
At what cost are you willing to pay to have things.
Yeah.
And Dave Chappelle, the great comedian, and I think comedians are prophets, by the way.
I
But
agree. Yeah.
the great comedian Dave Chappelle, when he left his show, and it was this big uproar because he left 50 million on the table, and everyone was so, oh my gosh, how do you leave 50 million? And he talked about it when he finally did come back and he got interviewed by Oprah. People can YouTube it, but I'm gonna summarize here. But he says, his dad told him early, always know what your value is, know what your cost, and if it becomes too much, leave.
Wow.
He said, and that principle stuck with me my whole life. He said, and it didn't matter if it was 50 million or 500 million.
Yeah.
He said, all of a sudden, the thing that made me happy no longer made me happy. And so I unplugged. I watched that and was going, I hope I have that level of integrity and commitment to being free if I was ever in that position, right?
Yes. And
But what's cool
yeah.
is that it circled back around. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go
What's
ahead.
cool is that it circles back around because he was getting 50 million to do an entire season. And because he stuck to his guns for what he believed, Netflix gave him 20 million for one show. Like several times
Yes.
over.
Yes.
So
It
I
does come
think
back
the
around
earth
when you were,
pays.
yes,
Yes.
it does come back around when you are living in
Yes.
your truth, when you're in your truth, and you got to be able to let things go first so they can
Yeah.
come back around, so you can let room for that magic to flow right back in. And I know some people might
Exactly.
be thinking, well, it's Dave Chappelle. He already had a bunch of money in the bank. I don't. I have to keep here. And that thinking is not true too either.
No.
You can always
And we don't know what
find
he
your
had
way.
in the bank,
That's right.
right? Like we have no clue. We have assumptions about what he has.
Right.
But I mean, the reality is stress doesn't change just because of the dollar amount,
Right.
right? Like
Right.
I've made more money in my 20s than my mom made in her entire life working, with 5 kids, right?
Yeah.
But the level of stress, if I had at a 6-figure salary and the level of stress my mom had at 5 figures, um, could be the same level, right? And
Right.
so it doesn't matter that Dave Chappelle is talking millions and we're talking thousands. Stress doesn't care, and
That's
the way that
right.
it wears down on your body and your health, like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. So the numbers aren't what people should be impressed by. It's the ability to be free and to smile and to have agency above all.
Amen. Yeah. And this goes right into that idea of other people defining success for you and letting other
Oh,
people define what success is for you. The last time we talked, you spoke about that a little bit, especially like your early days of success and being married and and how everyone was reinforcing what they viewed as success on you, but
yeah,
you weren't in alignment with
yeah.
what you
There's a lot
wanted.
of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on all of us, right? We all have our um, things that we want to do so people can be proud of us, and we all
Oh,
want to make
right.
mom and dad proud, and so we study and we overstress so we can get to the great universities. And
Yes.
then we want to make our bosses proud, and so we'll go above and beyond so that they can look at us and give us a pat and clap on the back. And for me as a young black man in America, um, I had measurable success kind of young. You magically begin to get all these people who say, "Oh, you're doing good. You should continue to do this, and oh, you need a family, and you should marry your girlfriend, and I grew up in the Bible Belt. You should marry your girlfriend, and you're gonna be living God's will, and you're gonna also do this, and you're gonna continue to be blessed." And I felt so much pressure to please
Mm,
that I made decisions that I knew weren't true to me, but
mm,
I thought it would make other people happy, right?
yeah.
And so I got married young, and I stayed married for a good amount of time. And the fact is, there was a certain level of unhappiness there,
Yeah.
and it never went away. You thought it would kind of change, and It didn't. It doesn't magically go away.
Right. It doesn't.
We design our lives, and I
Every
think
morning, every night.
it's a
Ev-
practice
Yep.
behavior.
Yes.
But nobody told me that, right? Like I was trying to be Bill Cosby because, when I say Bill Cosby, I'm talking about the Cosby Show, where
Absolutely.
it's
That we
this,
grew up with, right?
we all grew up with him. He was all American dad. He had a beautiful wife, and I, I felt like I had a really good situation, but in reality, I was dying on the inside.
Oof.
And that's
Painful.
very difficult. Um, and no matter, and again, I was professionally incredibly successful. I was well traveled. I was well respected. There wasn't a room that I could walk in and I didn't have the ability to shift and shape, but yet I was unhappy on the inside. And what's funny is when that marriage ended, um, and I was successful in that, and it took me a while to get there. But when that marriage ended, she was unhappy too, and I didn't know that. We were both
Oh,
pretending,
wow. Yeah.
right? And so I had to deal with this idea of failure, and I had to repackage and redefine that. And the reality is, I shifted from I have a failed marriage to I was really successful in maintaining a relationship that I'm not sure I even wanted to begin with anyway.
Yeah.
And when the
Wow.
time was done, the time was done, and so I'm okay with that now. It took me a while to understand that
Sure.
because when you're suffering, you think it's only you,
Right. And it's
and you
not.
think, no, 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 no. There's a community of people. It's just that we're all hiding, right?
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
We're
And that's
all
part of what I
going,
want to talk about this on a video, because so many people, when you talk about things like this and you put it out there, people are like,
sure,
that's where I was, or that's where I am, or that's what I'm trying to get
yeah,
out of. And it helps people wake up. And I'm so
yeah,
passionate about, and you are too, about life is so short. And we have this day that we're never going to have ever again. And
no,
if we can get people to wake up and live it like their fullest dream, they deserve it. We deserve it. That joy is
yeah.
out
My
there.
my older brother told me in the middle of when I was separating from my ex-wife and going through that whole thing. He said to me, and he said it so matter of factly. He said, "Today is a gift, Sam." He said, "You got to be present. Today is a gift. That's why they call it a present
Oh,
or the
yeah,
present." And I
yeah,
went, and I had to wake up and realize I'm gonna be dead way longer than I'll ever be alive.
yeah,
I have to make this count.
yeah.
I have to make this count because when I get in that box, no one's gonna get in it with me. My boss,
Right. Oh
right?
gosh. Right. Right.
My boss who stressed me, he's not jumping in.
Yeah.
My wife who loves me, she can't get in there. My kids who are willing to die for me, they can't jump in. The bonuses won't help. The vehicles, the car, like I have to make the most of what I have because it was only me when I came in. It's only going to be me when I leave.
Yeah.
So I need to determine the quality of that space that I'm going
Yeah.
to exhibit in between.
Whew, profound stuff. I think the more that we share this and talk about this, the more people understand we are in a community. They're not
Yo,
alone.
we're so in a community, and the thing is, Andrew, I know you know this. How many times are you out and about and just having random conversations with strangers, and you watch them go, yeah, like as you're sharing, you see
Yeah.
them go, wow,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I go through that too, right?
Yeah. It's so
The
validating. So important.
the reason for the shock is because it was always there. They just didn't know how to say it. And
Yes.
so if you're willing to be first and go, no, look, I have one of those scars too.
Yeah.
I went through that too. And they go, oh, and you made it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. And so I'm always trying to, I'll be in Ubers, I'll be on airplanes, the lady at the Chick-fil-A counter. I ask I ask people, so how is your day going?
Oh,
And they're so used to going, oh, things good. How can I
everything's
help you?
fine.
And I go, no, 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 for real. How's your day going? And you'd be amazed at how many people go, it's good. And they're
Oh,
kind of just shocked that we're
yeah.
taking the time to ask. And so
Yeah.
I want more of that. I want
Yeah.
more of that. I want real engagement. I'm
All
sorry I'm
right.
talking so
No,
much.
I love it. I love it. I
I'm
love it. So
racing.
everybody listening to
I'm
this,
racing.
go follow and do what Sam says.
No, we're
No,
just
it's
all
great.
trying to find our way. We're all
It
trying to
is.
find our
And you're
way.
not alone. You're not alone. Well, Sam, I'm
No,
gonna.
we were all pushed here by a woman's grunt and love push, and we were born between urine and feces. So why would we possibly believe that everything else is going to be clean? No, you're going to have to go through some stuff. If you came in between urine and feces, and when you leave, you're going to be the culinary delight of terrestrial worms. If you know that's your beginning and end, you might as well make the most of the middle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk again.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. And again, and I told you this in private, I'll say it on here. I'm so impressed with you.
Oh, thanks.
I'm not, I've been watching some of your videos. You don't share enough of how awesome of an attorney and how
Oh.
passionate of an attorney you were for folks. And
Oh.
so to watch you transition and be bold and courageous in your ability to serve others is just amazing. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like, really
Oh.
impressed by you, Andrea. Any way that I could assist and come and hang out with you and chat sometimes, I would love to.
That means so much to me because I'm a big fan of you. I mean, yeah, you know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's mutual
Well,
love,
thank
dude.
you
It's
so,
mutual love
so much. So much. All
for
right.
sure. You
Let's
guys take care.
bye bye.